Hello, everybody, and welcome to our team Zoom. My name is Harlequin Murray, and I am one of the team leaders here on Ellen's team. And it is my honor and privilege to introduce Ellen, who is our speaker tonight. And she's also our senior team leader. But for those of you who don't know her, I'm going to go and give you a little bit of background about her. She grew up here in the Metro Atlanta area on a family farm. And once she got out of school, she worked in the restaurant industry for over 25 years. And 8.5 of those years, she worked in the corporate arena in upper management with Domino's Pizza. She was a training director and a senior operations director for the state of Georgia with them. In 1997, she left Domino's and started her own restaurant, and she's been a business owner ever since then. She was introduced to network marketing in 2002, and over the years she's built massive teams and helped tens of thousands of people along the way. When I met her back in 2006 or 2005, excuse me, she was a national training director for a network marketing company. And she was also a partner in a large training center here in Atlanta. Ellen absolutely loves training people and helping people. And we're lucky to have her as our team leader. But she is an area director with David Allen Capital on that compensation plan. And she's also a one-star executive in our residual pay plan with Youngevity. And she's helped our team be one of the fastest growing and largest producing teams in DAC. So with no further ado, I'm going to introduce Miss Ellen Winn. Take it away.
All right. Thank you, Harlequin. I appreciate that. And I'm so fortunate to have you as a team leader here in my organization, because you make this Zoom go smoothly every week. And we've got so many people that look to you for help with leadership. So thank you for all that you do. If this is the first time that you've joined us on our weekly team Zoom, welcome to DAC. I really enjoy doing these and getting to see you guys face to face. I do a lot of texting and a lot of phone calls throughout the week, talking with many of you, but it's always nice to get to put that name and face together. So if you're here and have the ability to be on camera, I love seeing your face, not just a photo popped in there. So we always like to get started on time. I like to be considerate of your time, whether you're watching this live with us or you're catching it on the replay. I always start out with our team recognition. So I'm going to pull up my board here and go through the team leaderboard first thing to get us kicked off. And this is recognizing those who are recruiting. Recruiting is the lifeblood of our DAC business. If we got started and we didn't bring on new agents, then our business wouldn't grow. So every sports organization on the planet, whether it be a high school team, a college team, or a pro team, they're always looking for new, fresh blood to come in to help find that next superstar. And that's what we're doing here to keep the evolution growing and expanding with our company. So we start out with team recognition for recruiting, and this is going to be for the week of February the 10th through February the 16th. On my team, my organization, in first place again for, oh gosh, probably 10 weeks in a row, Katina Willis in first place with 17 new agent recruits. Congratulations again, Katina.
Ellen,
in second place.
Ellen,
yeah,
let me interrupt for a second because we can't see that. You're still on the first page.
Okay, let me figure out what's going on.
Maybe go and
all right, you got
there
it now?
You go. Yep.
Okay. I think when I was moving icons out, thanks for letting me know that, Harlequin. I must have hit pause share, and that's what happened. So again, first place, we have Katina Willis with 17 new agent recruits. Congratulations, Katina. In second place, Katina's enroller, Eric Johnson, had 8 new recruits for second place there. In third place, we had Andrea Lynn, and Andrea's name is highlighted in green. That means that this was her first recruit ever, but ended up the week with a total of 6, not just 1. So congratulations, Andrea, 6 new recruits for the week. I came in 4th place with 4 new agent recruits for the week. And in 5th place, we had a 3-way tie with Dr. Bridget Linderborg, Lakita Mitchell, and John Nevada, each having 2 new agents for the week. Again, Lakita highlighted in green. That means that was Lakita's first run at recruiting and ended up with 2 new agents instead of just 1. On the right side of our leaderboard, we have all the agents that had 1 new agent recruit for the week. And we have quite a few here highlighted in green as first time out. I won't go into those individually, but congratulations to Tamikia Beeman, David Bryant. Got David on there twice. Sorry about that. Should be just 1 with 1 new recruit. Eugene Clapp, Darlena Klinger, Michael Dew, Sean Dreffs, Beatrice Fields, Janet Franco, Richard Heraldez, Cheryl Henderson, Sharon Hill, Aaron Holloway, Tori Jackson, Roger Jordan, Clayton Matlock Sr., Chris Spartalis, Alan Stevens, Alicia Williams, and Kenneth Williams. So congratulations to you guys for making the leaderboard. Hey, if your name's not on the leaderboard this week, but you're having conversations about the agent opportunity, you're sharing your link and you're asking people to come take a look or sending out that invitation to take a look at other ways to make money in addition to what they're currently doing, then congratulations to you for taking that step. And it's just a matter of time before your name too will be on the leaderboard. Now, I want to go into testimonial. We started doing this a few weeks back, and this week's testimonial is actually me. I want to take you through what I received via email on Tuesday of last week. And as I start out leading into this, I had a client go to my David Allen Capital. I got Bank Breezy on my mind. My David Allen Capital page, and they went to the business capital tab of davidallencapital.com, right? When they went through that tab of the website, they filled out a form, which I immediately got notified. Congratulations, a client completed the pre-qualification form at your DAC site. This is the communication when they go through David Allen Capital, not through Bank Breezy. Last week, I talked about, do you send them to David Allen Capital or do you talk about Bank Breezy, right? So I'm taking you through the example of David Allen Capital. I got this email, and if you can see, it was dated February the 15th, which was last Tuesday at 8:02 a.m. when the email was triggered. That's when the application went through the website, right? It includes details about the company, their mobile phone, their business phone, the owner's name, how much they're requesting. This particular business owner was requesting $60,000, and they have stated that they're doing $44,000 in monthly sales. Also, it's reminding me of the process. It tells me here, as you know already, they had to load 3 months bank statements, their driver's license, and a voided check into the system as they were completing the application on my David Allen Capital website, right? However, we still need to verify they did, in fact, upload them all, and we still need their application filled out and returned. The one-page application gets emailed to the client for them to complete. Now, that process is going to be changing here, hopefully before this week is out, because we have our online one-page application coming on very soon. David's got to do a couple more tweaks to it and make sure that he's there to support it. His daughter is getting married tomorrow, Morgan Rutz, who, if you've ever sent in an email to our support team, Morgan may have answered you. She's also available on our corporate Zooms. Morgan is David's daughter. She's getting married tomorrow. So all of the Rutz family is focused on Morgan's wedding at this time. But after the wedding is finished and David can be back to be the support person on that one-page application going live, we're probably going to see that maybe as early as Wednesday, okay? But this is the email communication that comes out. So we talk about Bank Breezy being up to 25K today. I talked about the ins and outs of that last week, but I want to show you how quickly the application process works here on David Allen Capital too. So at 8:02 a.m., I received the notification that the applicant had filled out the form on my site. And then at 1:27, I received an update from our funding team, okay? Giving me an update as the agent. The communication update is in red at the bottom of the email, and it says receive partial documents awaiting loan application only. That's 2/15, the date of 2/15. Sent text message, sent document request email, and then immediately thereafter, and this is all in one email, but they're noting the file, and I'm getting the most recent version of the file that includes all of the previous notes, right? So here's a note in that email that says all documents received, 2/15. They've got all the documents that were to be uploaded, and they got the one-page application. Now, highlighted in bold, it says awaiting client credit profile to be unfrozen. This particular client had frozen his credit profile so no one could pull credit. He was protecting his credit, right? In that case, this particular lender wanted to do a hard credit pull. And we always tell the client prior to doing a hard credit pull that we need to do that before funding, okay? They saw something in here that normally they're just doing a soft pull with the amount of money that this client was requesting, but they had to do a hard pull, and we're waiting for that to be unfrozen. That was at 1:27 p.m. All of that had been completed. I got a phone call the next day saying the client had been funded. And then the next day on the 17th, I received the email commission from David Rutt saying, hello, congratulations. You have a client who's been funded with capital through DAC. This earns you income, plus also gets you amped up, qualified for 30 days, right? So that's the standard email that goes out. I received that in a matter of 2 days from the time the applicant applied to the time that they were funded. And had we not had to wait on them to unfreeze their bank account or unfreeze their credit score, then we may have gotten it funded in 1 day. So just wanted to show the sequence of how quickly that turnaround can happen with David Allen Capital. Now, again, back to what we talked about last week with Bank Breezy and David Allen Capital. Let's talk about how much this client would have received if they had applied at Bank Breezy instead of DAC. If they'd gone through the up to 25K today tab of your website, remember, I do not recommend that you use bankbreezy.com as the domain or as the URL, right? If I'm marketing Bank Breezy, the product, I always use the up to 25K today tab of my David Allen Capital URL, right? That's how I market it. But if this particular client had clicked on this tab instead of David Allen Capital, let's take a look at what he would have received. So reminder, they applied at David Allen Capital looking for $60,000. That was the requested amount stated in the email that I received. And they also stated that they're doing $44,000 in revenue. They ended up getting approved for $40,000 on the DAC side. So I'm assuming that when we actually verified their income by looking at their last 3 months bank statements, that their actual revenue was less than $44,000, because typically on the David Allen Capital funding, we're going to be able to get them qualified for 1 to 2 times what their lowest monthly revenue was over the past 3 months. So if they got approved for 40, I'm thinking that they were probably in the high 20s, maybe in the low 30s to get that approval. But I don't know for sure because I didn't talk to the client. In fact, I didn't talk to this client at all. I do not know this client, had no conversation with them whatsoever before getting the funded email. So the beauty of how our system works and how our team works, if you just are good at communicating and getting the word out there. So now back to if they had applied at Bank Breezy with a stated revenue of $44,000, assuming that their bank linking would verify the $44,000, they would have only gotten an offer for around $33,000. Because remember, Bank Breezy is going to approve them for about 75% of whatever their monthly revenue amount is. So it really pays to know the difference in the products. In this case, the client actually read the website and went through the proper application because, as I said, I had nothing to do with it. I didn't talk to them at all. But had he gone through Bank Breezy instead, he would have got a much lower funding offer and probably a much higher payback term because Bank Breezy only gives them one lender as the option there. All right. So that's the testimonial of the week. I want to remind everybody that our auto engaged incentive has been extended. In fact, David announced today, it came out on our corporate email, that it's been extended through the end of March. So anybody that you recruit now and through the end of March, if you are no longer engaged according to the comp plan, how do you become engaged? Well, if you're new in your first 60 days, you're automatically engaged, considered engaged, and eligible to earn overrides on your team. Or to be engaged, you have to have a funded client in the past 60 days. And that funded client could be a new client or a renewal, or it could be a line of credit client that will count as a new customer. So to be engaged, have to be within 60 days for most people, and this is extended. So if you're not engaged according to the comp plan and you recruit new agents, you will get paid as if you were engaged on that new agent and on that new agent's activity in their first 30 days. So you can still earn those enroller bonuses. We also have our preferred client working capital promotion going. As I always say, you just need to know that it's out there to be promoting it to higher revenue business owners so that they know that this is available and no fee, no deduction coming out. They'll get 100% of the proceeds of the funded amount, but our internal team will take care of sifting and sorting and determining whether your client qualifies for this. So that is it on the highlights that I want to talk about. But tonight I want to talk about something that I really feel like I need to address as a team. And that is going back through one of the clauses in our agent agreement, which is our terms and conditions. And I'm going to go through what this reads. And then I want to tell you a personal story that really hit home with me several years ago and how this impacted me and literally hundreds and hundreds of people. Okay. So our agent agreement terms and conditions, if you want a copy of this, it's available. There's a link in the Agent Resource Center, and you can click that link. It's part of the sign up process for you to be familiar with what David Allen Capital allows and what they disallow when we become an independent agent with them. But number 22 specifically reads that during the term of this agreement, as long as you're an agent and you're an agent with DAC, unless you cancel and terminate your agreement, you'll be active forever, or unless you do something to violate the terms and conditions and get terminated. Okay. So during the term of this agreement and for 1 year thereafter, I will not solicit or recruit DAC employees or ISAs, meaning independent sales agents, other DAC agents, whether active or inactive, to participate in a similar sales agent program or an affiliate marketing program, whether or not such marketing company offers identical services. I acknowledge that my violation of this provision will result in termination of all commissions and payments of any kind, and will at a minimum require me to share 50-50 any income I earn from the similar sales agent or affiliate program as damages. And I might put in here also pyramid schemes, because I've seen a pyramid scheme come across my desk here recently that was just flat out a transfer of money from one person to the next, and every bit of money in that plan came through people passing money along. There was no product being sold or anything. So I want to address this tonight because I know that it was what I saw was brought to someone that was totally unaware of the clause. So I would assume that the majority of you are unaware of this clause in the agent agreement. I personally have seen 3 agents in my team receive a cease and desist email from our founder, David Rutz, where somebody had complained about being recruited and people trying to be recruited out of their downlines, they send it in to David, and David will flat out send out a cease and desist email threatening all out legal action for damaging DAC. So I just want to bring this to everybody's attention to make you aware of this policy and make sure that you're not getting caught up in an unsuspecting or unintentional means of getting yourself terminated, right? There are so many shiny objects out there. Everybody wants to make money. And sometimes if we're not performing and making the money that we need to be making here at DAC, it's easy to get sidetracked with something else and see something else that looks appealing, whether it is legitimate or not, or whether that will be around for years and years to come like DAC will or not. So back to my story of what happened to me years ago. Harlequin did the introduction and talked about the company that I was a part of, that I was helping run a training center here in Atlanta. And there were 5 of us partners in that training facility. Me, 2 single gentlemen, and a husband and wife team that were considered for partners 4 and 5. Well, that husband and wife team were incredible network marketers and team builders. And they got frustrated with the company that we were working with at the time, and they decided to go look at a couple of other companies. They did that. They took another one of my partners with them, and the 3 of them decided to jump ship. So they left the company that we were all in bed with together, so to speak, with this training center. We had made financial commitments to it, not only our time commitment, but financial commitments to that training center. They came back and told me that they were going with this other company that was totally a different line of product, but they had some big upfront money offered to them to go, and they invited me to go with them. And I didn't. I said, no, I'm committed here. Not only am I committed here, but I have people in this training center that are committed to what we're doing. So I wasn't up for going, but what happened and what evolved after that was really heartbreaking to see, because these 2 people that people in the training center looked up to as leaders took off. They started recruiting people from everybody else's downline because they knew them, right? They got to meet them through our training center, or, like being a part of a big Facebook group and meeting all of these other people, started inviting other people from other people's organizations to come join their team. And many did. And in that, it tore apart a lot of organizations inside of my business and inside the business of a lot of people in the training center. But all in all, the worst part of all of this, other than the incomes that were immediately ripped out from under us because of the cross recruiting and unethical practices that my friends chose to take on, it left a lot of people hanging, because the couple that left the training center for their own greed and their own purposes weren't with that company, that other company, but for a few short months. Because just like I read in that terms and conditions clause that DAC has the ability to take 50% of your commissions from another company, the company that we were with, that they left, enacted that. They filed a lawsuit and they won. So all of a sudden, their commissions at that other company were being garnished to pay back damages to the company that we were committed to with the training center. So after their commissions were garnished, they decided to up and leave so that those commissions couldn't be garnished anymore. But once again, it was about them, right? All of the people that followed them over to that other company were now left without their leader that they followed. So when I share that about recruiting and being cautious to not violate terms and conditions and to respect the organizations that are built here, I come to it from a very personal place, because not only did it hurt people financially, but a lot of heartache went through that, because we create friendships and develop friendships over the time of working together, and a lot of people's feelings got hurt. It it tore my friendship apart with the couple that left, and many years went by before we were all able to move past what had happened, and for them to say, hey, you know what we did wasn't right, and they finally acknowledged that. But just wanted to share that with you guys. That's the beauty of this business, is that we work for ourselves and we make our own decisions. And it's a people business, but sometimes that can also be the downside to this business, is that it's a people business. So that's all I really had to share tonight. I want to open up for any questions or comments from the field here. And Harlequin, I'll open up for you if you have any questions or comments.
We have a question.
Okay.
Well, one I already answered, was, are we still okay to sell Youngevity products? And absolutely, it's our parent company. So
yeah.
Thank you. But the other question, so absolutely, Youngevity has fabulous products. But Darren asked, what about people we were already dealing with and we brought to DAC?
Okay, that's a good question. If you were already dealing with other people and you brought them to DAC, once they're here, you know, you should not be recruiting them and taking them to other companies. That is a violation of terms and conditions, no matter what that relationship is. Harlequin and I were talking about this earlier, and some companies have clauses that if you personally brought them in and they're your personal recruit, that it's okay. It's not really okay. So just respect that. Now, let me touch on this too. Excuse me. We know as an independent agent, you have a lot of different things that you can do. DAC is not the only business that I have. You know, I have a limousine company. I have an agency with Legal Shield. I've been with Legal Shield since 2010. So I have those in place already. And I will add things from time to time that make sense for me to do in addition, because I'm all about money. I own rental properties, and I'm always doing entrepreneurial ventures, right? So we know you're going to be doing those things. We have a lot of people that are in the funding space with DAC and other companies, and that is okay. This is strictly about trying to take people that you meet through DAC or that you bring to DAC. You bring them in here and you get them moving along, and then all of a sudden you try to take them somewhere else. Because a lot of times you'll bring people to a company and they see the opportunity here, but then whoever it was that brought them gets frustrated or moves on to something else. So they try to take the flock with them, so to speak. And it gets confusing for those people that came in and they're like, well, wait a minute, I thought DAC was great, but now you're off doing this other thing. It really helps you lose credibility over time of that jumping from one program to the next. In fact, if you look at network marketing in the direct selling space, there are so many people that have not made the amount of money that they could if they would just join a company, learn the company, promote the products, and stick with one company. The really big earners in the network marketing space, most of them will say you need to commit to at least 5 years and stay with that company and keep moving on through. The really big earners in most companies have been with the companies for 10 years or more because they had that stick and stay mentality. Now, there will be exceptions where leaders get paid to move from one company to the next. David has addressed this, and I love this about David Rutz, is that he's not ever going to be the one that will pay leaders. And I've got Lucy walking on the sofa behind me. My little Yorkie, she's got a little ramp to climb up on the sofa, so that's funny. Anyway, David will not be one that will be offering those big bonuses for leaders to come join DAC. So real excited. I'm sorry, I have to laugh with Lucy. She's just decided that she wants to be in the camera there, walking along the back of this furniture. Okay, Harley, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Okay, well,
You're
Randy
muted if
has
you're
his
talking.
hand up.
Randy, okay, yep. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Randy, how are you doing tonight?
Doing well, Ellen.
Awesome.
I just have a simple question. Where's the best place? You know, I'm the baby. I feel like the baby. I'm a 60-year-old man, and I feel like the baby of this whole group because I'm learning at probably a slower pace, but I am learning, and I'm really competent with what's going on in my world with DAC. So I'm
Awesome.
excited. I had reached out and a guy came back with the customer financing, and I just was curious where to look at the compensation for that particular service. Just to go over the comp plans on all the services, and then also just kind of wondering what the framework looks like with all these other services. We hear a lot about the funding, and I'm just wondering, you know, how much really to weight these other services in, because when I was doing outreach or, you know, sending out my promos, I was kind of guy came back, done some business with him and said, I don't need a loan, but do you do customer financing? Well, of course we do, you know, and sent him the link and told him what to do. And I was just wondering, you know, how that all kind of structures into everything with the overall picture of David Allen Capital.
Okay, great. And what a great question. I'm sure that there are many others on this call right now who have the same question. So let's talk about the compensation plan first. If you go to the Agent Resource Center, at the very top of the page, you've got those big green 1, 2, 3, right? Video one, or number one is you're getting started right training. Number two is the business funding training. And number three is our compensation plan. The compensation plan has a PDF chart and a video series. So you can print the chart out, and I believe you're going to find the customer financing on like page 3 of that document. I've got it here in front of me. 1, 2, 3, 4, actually page 5 of that document, Randy, is going to be the customer financing breakdown. Okay. And it's going to tell you the percentage, which is basically 0.7% of the new funded amount each month. So if a business is doing 50,000 in new service fundings for the month, take 50,000 times 0.7%. What's that? $350. That would be your commission each month if they continue doing 50,000 a month in new client funding. So that's your commission. And also David does on those videos, you've got 3 series. Video 1 is personal commissions. Video 2 is leadership overrides. And video 3 is your residual commission. And you can listen and follow along as he goes through that. But the chart is self-explanatory on its own. Now, as far as all of the products go, funding is our flagship product. It's what the company was founded on, and will most likely always be our flagship product, right? But because we're in the finance space, these other products that we layer in really make sense for a business owner. David has said if we cannot offer a product that is competitive in the marketplace and delivers great value to the business owner, plus pays a great commission to our agents, we're not going to market it. So it's a win-win with what we market. I like to market myself as a funding or finance expert, or the finance or funding pro. But in that finance package, we have not only funding and our new line of credit, but we have customer financing, payment processing as part of the finance package. And then when you look at finances for the business, we have healthcare. I think the easiest way to handle those is for you to pick one product that you really feel good about to lead with. And, you know, I think this new line of credit that we have just launched is a super lead in for any and every business owner that you talk to, because it's something that they need as lifeblood to their business, a line of credit. And if they have applied for a line of credit at their bank, they've either been denied or they've been told that they need collateral. So to have an unsecured line of credit is an amazing product line. So I would lead with either that or the customer financing if you're talking to business owners that have a higher ticket item, right? If they've got something that If they're marketing a service that's $1,000 or more, our finance product is great. Or if they're marketing a product, tangible product that's 300 or more, our finance product is great, as long as their monthly revenue is 40,000 a month minimum. We found that businesses that aren't doing at least 40,000 a month aren't going to do a lot of customer financing, so they're not a good fit. Another thing I'll say on that, Randy, is I like to take a consultative approach. So if I have an opportunity to sit down with a business owner or just talk to them in person, I like to offer, hey, I always am happy to do a short consultation on the services that you're using, and let's see where we can help save you some money. And in that, I even have a consultation script that goes through all of the services that we market, but I can kind of do it off the top of my head. So let's say that you're talking to a business owner and they're open to scheduling a 10 or 15-minute slot with you, whether it's by phone or in person. And we can do this by phone very easily. They say, yeah, that'd be great. So we set it up. Maybe it's a phone call. We do a 3-way call. I'm happy to do these with you to get you kicked off on how to create that cost saving analysis for the business owner. But I would get on the phone and just talk to them about their business, say, hey, it's great to meet you. My goal with this call is to see where you're spending money and where we might be able to save you some money, and find if there's some holes in the services that you're using right now that or that you need and don't have, that we might have access to. But first, let me find out a little bit about you and your business. Tell me, how long have you been in business? So I start asking qualifying questions immediately, talking to that business owner, qualifying how long they've been in business, what product line they would fit into, what their sales are, how many employees they have, etc. And then I just lead straight into, whether it's customer financing or payment processing, asking questions about that. Again, I have a script and I'll be happy to share that. If you want to send me an email at workwithellen@gmail.com, I can send you that script over to give you a better idea of how that consultation conversation would go. So hopefully that's helped you on the different product lines and how you can make that work.
Yeah, and I, this, it kind of triggered one other question, if I could. I've got
Sure.
all this stuff going on, and the follow-up. I mean, right now I've done pretty much all. I think last call that I got on, and actually my first time on to raise my hand, I said it was an email. It was actually a text. I've been doing text, and that's all I've done for about 20 texts. And so I'm feeling like now there might be some kind of follow-up to some of this stuff, because I am getting some feedback, and I'm not real familiar with the direct network marketing space like probably a lot of folks are. So I come out of construction, so what I know is banging nails and hanging sheetrock. So I'm trying to get acclimated to this, but I am thinking I have done different things where follow-up's important, and I'm just wondering what's your take on doing follow-up with kind of in my situation, just so I can kind of go
Absolutely.
off.
First, let me talk about speak on your comment about not having network marketing experience or any of that. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your industry in the construction space. My brother has been a general contractor for 35 plus years. He's in the middle of doing a big remodel project for me in my new home right now. So I appreciate what happens in the construction space, but I know it's hard work too. And in your marketing there, whether you were marketing yourself, whether you worked for someone else or your skills, you were just marketing. And that's all that network marketing is. It is a marketing model, right? And it allows us to bring customers to the table for David Allen Capital, and we get the lion's share of the commission that gets paid, those of us that personally bring the client to the table. But then it also pays overrides for folks like myself and like Harlequin out here who are team leaders. You see, we are volunteering our time every week to help all of you guys we're not on a salary. We're not getting paid anything directly from the company other than the commission plan. When you guys have success, if you're in our sales organization, which you're all in my sales organization, then a portion of your commission I get a revenue match on. So that's how I get paid, but I'm not on salary. So that's the beauty of the network marketing model, but it's just a marketing model to bring clients to the company. And I think it's the best and most fair compensation model out there versus a traditional job and a traditional employee. But to your question on follow-up, yeah, follow-up is incredibly important. It would really depend on the initial message that you send out. I think a great follow-up is when we launch a new product like we just did. Your initial message right now, Randy, would be alerting everyone that you know that you've just gotten involved in the funding space and doing that launch out loud text. If you haven't found the scripts yet, in the Super Saturday workbook that is available near the top of the Agent Resource Center, it's highlighted in red. There are many examples of text messages and emails in there where you can send out text to everybody that you know saying, hey, don't know if you know or not, but I am in the small business capital space now. If you know any business owners that need working capital and can't get approved at their bank, I would love to be their go-to person, right? Just letting them know that this is something new that you're doing so that they are aware to reach out to you in the event of that opportunity. You make that announcement to everyone, then you're going to get replies back and have that opportunity for interaction. But if you've sent messages out and you're not getting anything back, or 2 or 3 weeks go by and you want to follow up with them, do a follow-up with something new. Say, oh, by the way, don't know if I told you this in my last text, but we also have lines of credit, right? So you can always look at what you sent in the past and come back with an update to do a future follow-up. And then once you've got someone in the funnel, I keep my clients in a spreadsheet so I can go back and reach out to them, congratulate them, create a relationship with them to see if there's anything that I can do in the future. But yeah, follow-up is king in the sales and marketing space. And I think follow-up is king for you to be able to create that relationship where that client always has you top of mind, anything business finance related for their business. So yes, definitely.
Thank you. That's good. I got a lot of other questions, but I'll stop.
Well, I appreciate your questions, and I appreciate your eagerness to learn and being here on camera and participating in our Zoom tonight. Thank you, Randy.
It's fun.
Awesome. It should be fun. All right. Anybody else got questions or comments?
Yeah, Ellen, Ashley Silva asked a question,
Okay.
but it looks like she had to drop off or she got knocked off. I'm not sure if I understand this. So it says, so basically we can't outgrow the company with each other. She posted it while you were talking about the people who had
Terms
left
and
the company.
conditions.
Yeah.
Can't outgrow the company with each other. I'll have to find that comment. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Ashley.
Yeah,
Send
and
a message.
I don't see that comment that you're. Oh, I see it. So basically, we can't outgrow the company with each other. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Okay. And then it looks like First Choice Emergency and Safety has a question.
Okay.
So I will ask them to unmute themselves.
Hey guys,
Hey,
can you hear me good?
sure can.
I'm sorry, I'm new signing up and I'm actually out and about moving around, so I apologize if my background is a little noisy.
No worries. Glad you're here.
Yes, before I answer my question, I just so happened to hear the question that you were asked, and I myself too, I've been doing what I do for about 10 years, And I know exactly what it's like for people to come around you and you to be generous enough to give trade secrets, to give guidance, to give information that may be proprietary, thinking that, you know, they will at least have the common decency not to become your biggest competition, and you are not wrong for that idea. So maybe the person that asked that question has never had anything taken from them after giving it for free. And so they don't know what it feels like, but I completely understand where you're coming from on that. So have no fret about that comment. So my question is, like I said, I am a CPR instructor, pretty much in the same situation. I've been doing this for 10 years. And so now that a lot of kind of like, you know, it's just basically gotten competitive in the field. Some of that competition I did create myself. So I am just trying to come up with new ways to strategize and add to my business. I help people start CPR training centers, and one of their biggest barriers is being able to afford the equipment. So I was thinking about this as an opportunity to where I can offer new clients a package that also comes with business financing. And so with that thought process in mind, do you think that this is the right opportunity that I'm looking for to be able to do that?
Well, we're limited on helping new businesses, and
Okay.
thank you for those confirming comments about you've been there and know what it feels like. So many unsuspecting people have no clue, right? But yeah, so all of our funding requires that the business be in business a minimum of 4 months, but in most cases at least 6 months. So if they are just getting started with that CPR business, it may not be a good fit for them funding wise. Now, in that, are they offering CPR classes? What is it that they're selling with those businesses?
Well, they're offering CPR and first aid classes. And for our particular line of work, what makes it a little special is that about 75% of the workforce and also students in college are required to have it just for work or school purposes. So most people don't come and get CPR certification because they care about saving a life. Unfortunately, not gonna get on that soapbox, but most of the people that come to us, about 90% of our students come because they absolutely have to. So that's what makes us pretty secure. So even with that 4 to 6 month kind of requirement of being in business, then that just gives me an idea of who my target audience might be. Maybe I might be looking for someone who already has a business that's been long-standing and wants to add the CPR training to their current business that they already have. That way they have that backup of the business that they're already into, maybe just not a newbie that's fresh off the street and never had a business before. So I think I could still make a workaround as long as I know what my parameters are that I'm looking for.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I wish we had a startup funding package for beginners, but really David explains that startup funding is more of a personal loan because banks don't want to do startup funding. They want collateral. And as he covers in our presentation, the way business owners are going to get funding to start a business is they go through traditional bank loan, which most don't qualify for. They use their savings, or they go to friends and family and borrow money. And that's still the case with most business owners. Up until they've been in business for several years, they're having to pull from their personal assets. So I wish we had a funding solution there for that new business owner. We just don't. And it's a high risk space that we're in when they're just 4 or 5 or 6 months old. And that's where our Bank Breezy product comes in for the business that's doing $5,000 to $15,000 a month in revenue. And once they're established and are doing $15,000 or more, then our David Allen Capital product. But let me say this as well. If you find a business owner that already has an existing business, this came up on today's call, where that business can borrow money. If it qualifies within our funding range, they can borrow money through that existing business, and they can do with whatever they wish to do. So even if they wanted to borrow money from their restaurant and start a different type of business, they could. They would just use the restaurant revenue to pay back the loan, and then they can do whatever they want with that money. So it's unlimited restrictions once they receive it. They just have to get qualified with an existing business. All right, hopefully that answered your question. Did you have anything else?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And the last question that I had is, if they are in business, it needs to be an LLC with a business bank account, not a sole proprietor going into a personal account, correct?
Two different scenarios. If they're applying at Bank Breezy, that 5,000 to 15,000, yes, they must have an EIN number. Okay, they can be a sole proprietor as long as they apply for an EIN number to get funding there. But if they're doing over 15,000, they can apply at DAC without having an EIN number and without having an LLC at all. They can be a sole proprietor operating through their social security number if they meet that higher revenue qualification. But that's the difference. Bank Breezy must have an EIN, that $5,000 to $15,000 range. DAC, as long as they're doing 15,000, they can apply no matter what their structure is. But the answer on both, whether it's Bank Breezy or DAC, they must have a business checking account in the name of the business.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thanks for the questions. And there's a great quick reference guide at the top of the Agent Resource Center. We've got, of course, videos 1, 2, 3, which you need to watch those first. And then under that, we have the Super Saturday training. And just below that is the Business Capital section. Under Business Capital, number 1 is a quick reference guide for funding. And number 2 is a quick reference guide for our new line of credit. So I would encourage you to print out those 2 PDFs and have those as a reference to go to anytime you've got a question, and trying to put that puzzle together as to whether a product is right for your client or not. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much. I'll say I've been kind of looking into different things all day today, and I really appreciate just kind of stumbling upon this Zoom. Like, I literally signed up today, and you know how sometimes you're just going through an opportunity trying to find out, are these real people? Is this just a robot? And then come to find out, oh, there's a Zoom with an actual person there. So appreciate you for doing the Zoom. I'm definitely going to be looking through that stuff. So pardon my questions. I literally just signed up, but I do appreciate you having this Zoom, and that makes me feel a lot more confident as I go through all this information later on tonight. Have a good night.
And you probably received a text message from me. That initial text would have been from my cell phone. My cell phone is in the signature of my emails. And you're welcome. If you ever have a client conversation going and you're not quite sure how to handle that, you're welcome to reach out to me on my mobile. If I'm available, I will be glad to talk and get those questions answered so that we can move that client through the process. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah. We do have another question that you answered most of it, but I did not catch the name of that person that was just talking, because she doesn't have her name on her. Hey,
I'm sorry. My name is Ronnie.
Ronnie. Okay.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Ronnie.
Nice to meet you as
And
well.
welcome to the team.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And then Christina Brazel, you pretty much answered this, and it's just asked a slightly different way. It says, many small business owners have asked me, can they use their social security number, sole proprietorship, which they always use their social, but they also have to have their EIN. But do they need to show receipts from business as bank only, or let me read this again. Do they need to show receipts from business as only bank statement showing 5,000 a month? So I think basically what she's trying to ask is, they have to show a bank statement that shows $5,000 a month or more from a business checking account for the last 3 months.
And that revenue that's being deposited into the business checking account has to be business revenue. It can't be money transferred from a personal account. or another loan source such as a PPP or a EIDL. It has to be actual sales revenue generated going into that account. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Anybody else?
those
We
are-
got-
I think those are the only questions that I've seen. If I missed one, forgive me.
Good
And I
stuff.
don't see anybody else with their hand up.
All right. Well, we will.
Actually,
wrap it up.
can I,
Mhm.
let me just say something, just some personal experience from this last week. You know, now that we have the line of credit available, this past week, I went to a networking breakfast, a Home Builders Association lunch, a business expo, and a real estate networking event. So I was busy this past week, but I have to say that the feedback that I've gotten from the business owners on the line of credit that we now have available has been absolutely phenomenal. You know, the business owners are like, you have what? Let me talk to you. You know, whereas sometimes they might not necessarily have that same excitement level, shall we say, about working capital. Lines of credit, they're like, yeah, I can use that on a regular basis. So, you know, don't be afraid to go out there and talk to people about it. You know, even big companies are interested in having access to that. You know, just to give them cash flow things. So
Absolutely. And thanks for mentioning that, Harlequin, you know, from your personal experience. And I know that group, we're both members of the group she's talking about with the Atlanta Home Builders Association. And there are a lot of folks in there. And I see that new product, the line of credit, is a great door opener. So back to Randy's question, I would lead with that line of credit. And, you know, if they do need funding and they ask about the line of credit, if they don't qualify, our team is still going to offer them funding if they go through and apply for the line of credit. And they'll see that on the website as they apply. It'll say, if you don't meet these qualifications, click here to apply for our working capital. So we just want to get them through the funnel in one shape or another, and either our landing page on the website or our internal team is going to help redirect the client to the correct product. So just got to have the conversations to get started. I see somebody's got their hand raised. I have Cherry. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Hello, good to see you tonight.
Hi, how are you? How is everyone? Thank you.
Good.
I have a question. Do you know when we're gonna have the flyers for the line of credit?
No, I don't have a definitive date on that. I know as far as a marketing flyer, is that what you're asking?
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, I don't. David's been very busy with Morgan's
Right.
wedding and so on. They at least got the PDF out for us to see what that quick reference PDF is, but I don't have information on a flyer, but I'm sure we'll be seeing some things posted in the Agent Resource Center here pretty soon. At least images. You do have an image that you can post, your social image, that if you post your line of credit link in Facebook or LinkedIn, it's going to auto populate a line of credit image for you that you could save and use.
Okay.
But I haven't seen any others. Harlequin, if you have seen other images posted, then please let me know, but I'm sure those will be coming online soon.
no, that he hasn't posted anything yet. It is something that they are working on, but as you mentioned, he's also trying to get the one-page application for the DAC funding, plus trying to get Morgan married. So
Yeah.
later on in the week, that's when he will be working on those a little bit more. But I do know that they have started on that. They just haven't gotten it completed yet.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good question. Anything else, Sherry?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Good to hear from you.
Thanks.
And Christina Brazil. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Hey, Christina, how are you tonight?
I am good, Ellen, and I'm better that you pronounce my last name. correctly versus
Awesome.
everybody else say Bravo. It's Brazil.
Awesome.
I want to say that I haven't gotten any email or anything that stated that somebody has signed up, but I do want to let you all know that I literally have walked into about 30 different businesses where I live this week, like literally in one day. I had to hit about 20 to 25 businesses, and pretty much not one of them, I had a few, I probably can count on him, maybe about 3 that were like, no, no, but overall the majority was so interested, like, wow. So I definitely want to let you all know that you got somebody that is truly active, and I had to probably present the business as a whole, maybe to like 50 people. So this was like literally all in one day. So a lot of times, like I just go hard like that, period. And I usually never say anything, but I'm just gonna just start putting it out there, what I do and how I do it, because you know what I mean? And I think it'll just come back to me like that. I'm always keeping things a secret, but I go hard. And I want y'all to know that y'all got somebody going hard in the background. So y'all labor is not in vain.
That's awesome. Well, I always say, don't be a secret agent, because if you are a secret agent and nobody knows what you're doing, then they can't refer clients to you, or they can't be your client, right? So thanks for sharing that. And which product are you leading with in these conversations? Are you talking about funding or the line of credit?
Well, I'm talking about pretty much capital, because where I'm at, I came here and I'm like in a country kind of ish. So this is really like a brave thing that I'm doing, because they don't want to hear nothing about a loan. So I came from California and I'm pretty much in like the countryish area. So I'm pretty much presenting to them the capital, the funding, pretty much the capital and the funding. And they're not even there on that. So I was just, giving them that to grabs pretty much. And so that's pretty much what I'm offering them, and then offering the business. Because it seemed like they've not even really, when you're in the country, you kind of far back behind. You're really not up on really what's going on. So here in Arkansas, they're looking at me like, who is this? You know what I mean? She's this wild woman. I'm looking wild, stepping into their business. So I'm pretty much presenting to them the funding, trying to get them to, grab that. So.
Yeah. So, some of the terminology that we use amongst ourselves as agents are not the terms that a business owner might be familiar with. So as you're talking to business owners, as you say, in the country there, they may not be familiar with funding, and they may not be familiar with finance. So you might want to put it in terms, if you ever need money for your business, just think about what it is that relates to them. But one thing that you said, I want to point out, you were talking about nobody wants to talk about a loan. Just a reminder, for those of you that aren't aware, we don't use the word loan because specifically California requires that if you're talking about business loans, that you have to be licensed. So we all still steer clear of using the word loan, using the words capital, working capital, financing, funding, or money, but not the word loan. Great job getting out there. And that's the thing. You just got to move forward and move past your comfort zone and start having those conversations, because the more of them you have, the easier they become. I would recommend, you probably have already ordered drop cards or have printed flyers, but I always recommend, if you're going out face to face, that you have something to leave behind with your information and as a reference, so that they can look back and see what you handed out. One other thing that you touched on, if you're doing that and you walk in and someone is saying, no soliciting here, I like what Patricia Clausen says. She's one of our agents who's been in the funding space forever. And she says, if anybody ever says anything to me about no soliciting, just say, well, I'm not soliciting. I'm a trusted advisor in the business community. And I just wanted to drop by and leave you my information in case I could ever help. you get working capital or a line of credit for your business. So I love that she is a trusted professional and doesn't look at it as soliciting. All right. Good stuff. All right. Any other questions or comments before we wrap up tonight? We've got, I'm going to lower your hand, Christina. Did you have another question? All right. Okay, Harlequin, unless we've got anything else new in the chat, we're going to wrap up and be considerate of everybody's time.
No, I don't see anything else in the chat.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate. I'm sorry.
I said, I don't see any other hands raised, so.
All right, good deal. Well, we must have addressed everything. I appreciate your attentiveness and I appreciate your time. And when I touched on the terms and conditions tonight, certainly not to step on anybody's toes, but just through my many years of experience in this, things happen and occur along the way that people just don't really understand the impact of it and don't understand that they're in violation of terms and conditions. So just want to make that an educational conversation tonight so that now you know and have a better understanding of why that is in place. Okay, guys, I appreciate you all. I'll see you on the next Zoom. Have a great evening. And our next Zoom is actually on Friday at 11:30 Eastern time. That'll be the corporate Zoom. So we'll see you then. I'll get this out in an email with the replay from today and this one as well. Have a good rest of the night. We'll see you next time.
I do have one last thing that just came up. Susan Brooks was asking about how to save the chat for later. If you look on the 3 dots, if you're on a desktop, go on the 3 dots and it has in the chat and it says save chat. And then on, trying to think, and
Yeah,
that's with the chat open. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Susan, good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, have an awesome evening. Give you
Thank
1
you.
second there to save that chat, Susan.
It's saved.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night. Good
Good night.
night.